Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Wednesday, May the 8th. In this video, I'm going to be looking at the main slate. I did make a video for the early 4-game early slate. If you want to check that out, it is on my channel. I have already uploaded it. This video will be going up shortly after that one does. But for this one, we're going to look at the main slate, 8 games, DraftKings and Yahoo. We'll work our way through the pitcher-player pool, talk about some of the pitchers I'll be looking to target on this night slate, and then we'll go through some hitters I like, 3 hitters. We'll talk about stacks, and then at the end of the video, we will look at some BVP plays. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below, so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. I would really appreciate it. But we're going to start off at the top. So on DraftKings, Chris Sale is our most expensive pitcher for this night slate. He is $10,400. And he gets a matchup with the Orioles. This is a great spot for Chris Sale, and he has been pitching very well lately. So I do like Chris Sale quite a bit as the most expensive pitcher on the slate. If we go over to Yahoo and look at their pricing, Chris Sale is $54. Clayton Kershaw is the next most expensive pitcher at $49, $5 difference. I still think Sale is the better play, even with the $5 difference. With a $200 difference on DraftKings, I think Sale is also the better play. So like I said, he's been pitching way better as of late. Last 3 games, 10, 8, and 10 strikeouts, 23, 23, and 33 DraftKings points. He's gone 5 innings. He went 5 innings against Detroit, then he went 7 innings against Tampa Bay, and then against the White Sox in his last start went 6 innings with 10 Ks. Sale, like I said, just been pitching way better lately. It's a great matchup against the Orioles team that does strike out a ton. Really bad lineup, low implied run total as well of just 3.3 runs. All things favor Sale here, so I really like him on both sides. I'm surprised he's not more expensive, especially with how well he's been pitching lately. I'm surprised DraftKings didn't jack up his price to $11K. Chris Sale at $10,400 is clearly the best pitching option on the slate in my opinion. And then for an SP2, I think there's a lot of guys that can be considered for an SP2. It just kind of depends on how much you want to pay for your SP2. Guys like Tyler Skaggs at $8,800, Brad Peacock at $8,600 are really good options if you want to pair them with Sale. But that is a lot to pay at pitcher. If you play like Skaggs and Peacock, one of those two, I think you're left with like $3,800 remaining per player, which is a bit tough to work around. So I like going a bit cheaper. I think Kyle Gibson at $7,700 is a guy that you can look to pair with Sale. You play him and Sale together on DK, that still leaves you almost $4,000 remaining per player. Going over to Yahoo, though, and looking at their pricing, it's a lot different. Skaggs is at $37, Peacock's at $37, and Gibson is at $36. So they're all very tightly priced. Choosing between those 3 guys, I think Peacock is my favorite option of those 3 on Yahoo. On DraftKings, though, Peacock and Skaggs are a lot more expensive than Gibson, so I like the savings you get going down from those 2 guys to a guy like Kyle Gibson. Starting off with Gibson, it is a really good matchup for him against the Blue Jays team. It just doesn't have that great of a lineup. This is a team that I've been picking on all year with opposing pitchers. It's a team that does have some strikeouts in its lineup as well, especially when you get towards the bottom of the lineup. Sort of low implied run total for the Blue Jays, just a 4.4 implied run total, not too high. With just how limited our pitching is for value, like cheap pitchers, I think Gibson does stand out as one of the better cheap options at $7,700. I would have a lot of interest in John Gray at home against the Giants, but there's expected to be some pretty bad weather in this game, and I'm not sure if it's going to play. But if this Coors game is able to go, John Gray at $8K for $300 more, I think makes a lot of sense if you want to play him over Gibson. But for now, I'm going to roll with Gibson at $7,700. But under Gibson, there's no one that I really like. I don't see myself playing Trent Thornton. No way I'm playing Jorge Lopez against the Astros. Brett Anderson, I just don't think has that much upside, even though he's pitching in a good park against a pretty mediocre Cincinnati team. Don't think I can go to Brett Anderson. Jose Urena, no way I'll play him against the Cubs. Derek Holland in Coors is definitely scary, even though he's very cheap. Don't think I want to go there. And then Andrew Cashner against the Red Sox, no way I play him. So Gibson, in my opinion, stands out as the best cheap option available on DK. On Yahoo, I really like Brad Peacock and Tyler Skaggs. Those 2 guys I would probably try and fit in over Kyle Gibson. But that's probably where I'm looking to for the cheap options. Now going back towards the top, Chris Sale's my favorite, obviously. Kershaw I don't have that much interest in. I expect to have a lot more Chris Sale today. I think Kershaw, just not that great of a matchup. It's a Braves team that doesn't strike out much, is going to put the ball in play. And although Kershaw's looked really good lately, I think Sale just has more upside given his matchup. Matt Boyd, I like a pretty decent amount, but he's so closely priced to Chris Sale that it's hard for me to play a ton of Matt Boyd today. But he'll probably be up there if I can pay up for a pitcher. It'll be Sale, and then Matt Boyd is probably like my two highest owned guys. In that mid-range, I really like Skaggs and Peacock. I mentioned Gibson for value, and maybe in lineups where I want to pay up for bats, I'll maybe throw in some Brett Anderson at 6,500. But that's kind of where I'm going for pitcher today. Let's talk about some hitters now that we can target on this slate. So I think the Red Sox are in a really good spot today again versus Andrew Cashner. I stacked them up quite a bit on Tuesday versus David Hess. I'm going to be going right back to them again against Cashner. Their DraftKings prices, though, are pretty expensive. Like Benintendi's $4,900, Martinez $4,900, Bogarts $4,900, Mookie's $54. It's really tough to fit these guys in on DK, especially if you want to pay up for Sale. But if we switch over to Yahoo, look at their pricing. You have Devers at like $16, who I like quite a bit. Mitch Moreland at $16. I think both of those guys are really good plays here versus Cashner. Moreland I like a lot at first base at 16. Devers as well at 16 I like a lot at third base. Facing Andrew Cashner, who is just not a good pitcher, really struggles to both sides of the plate, gives up a lot of home runs. It's a great spot for some of these Red Sox bats. Two of the cheaper options in that lineup I do like quite a bit in Devers and Moreland. I think those are guys you can definitely consider on Yahoo. Since we're on Yahoo, we'll go ahead and fill out my Yahoo core. Assuming this Coors game plays, I think Joe Panic as a one-off here versus John Gray makes a lot of sense on Yahoo because he's still so cheap at just $11. He's projected to lead off again for the Giants. Their run total's not that high, especially with them being in Coors Field, just a 4.5 implied run total. But Gray is still a guy that's prone to blowing up. This guy can struggle at times. I don't think he's going to really struggle here. I don't see him getting blown up by this Giants team, but it wouldn't be surprised if he maybe gave up a home run or two. Panic leading off in Coors, second base, $11, really stands out on Yahoo. I like him quite a bit. I still like John Gray a lot today, but I'll definitely have some lineups where I have Joe Panic with how cheap he is. I think he's cheap on both sides. He's still really cheap on DraftKings as well. But now going back to DraftKings, looking at some plays over here. We'll start off at second base. You could play Joe Panic here. Joe Panic is cheap at $3,900, but I want to talk about Jose Altuve. I really like Altuve at just $4,400 on DraftKings. The Astros, along with the Red Sox, are probably my two favorite stacks again today. Love the Astros here versus Jorge Lopez. 5.6 implied run total for them. We look at this lineup. One thing that clearly stands out to me here is Altuve batting second for just $4,400. That price tag just feels way too cheap for this matchup, so he looks like a great play to me. I played a ton of him on Tuesday. Going to be going right back to Altuve. Really like him a lot on DK at $4,400. Also, Josh Reddick batting sixth for $4K. Looks like a really good value versus the righty and Jorge Lopez. I think Reddick, if you're stacking the Astros, he makes a ton of sense today. Don't know if I'd play him as a one-off, but like if I'm stacking the Astros, like a maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stack you could do if you want to do that on DK. Or maybe like Altuve, Brantley, and Reddick if you want to do like a 2, 4, 6. That's something you could do. I'll be stacking up the Astros in pretty much every way possible. So Altuve, Reddick, two guys I really like with how cheap they are compared to some of the other prices in this Astros lineup. Then one other team I really like today is the Twins versus Trent Thornton. I think the Twins with a 4.7 implied run total make a lot of sense here versus a pitcher that's just not that good, doesn't really have swing and miss stuff. It's a really good Twins lineup as well, a ton of power in this lineup. And a guy that really stands out to me on DK is Eddie Rosario. He's only $4,600. I really like him today as a one-off, or if you want to stack the Twins, you could definitely go to Eddie Rosario. This guy has shown a ton of power this year. Already has 12 homers on the year, which I'm pretty sure is up there towards the top of the league. Been hitting a ton of bombs this year. Would not be surprised if he adds to his total today versus Trent Thornton. Pretty decent hitter's park as well in the Rogers Center in Toronto. Really like the 1 through 5, 1 through 6 from the Twins. Like you got cheap plays here with C.J. Cron batting 5th for just $3,700. Marwin Gonzalez batting 6th for just $3,200. If you want to stack the Twins today, you could still easily do that with some of the expensive pitching on this slate. So I love going with maybe like an Astros 4-man, a Twins 4-man, and then playing Sale Gibson. I think you should be able to do that today. if you pick the right bats, if you find the right value. Maybe if you play Gonzalez and Crone, and then you play like Altuve, Reddick, Bregman or something, you just kind of figure it out as you go. But they're a team I'm going to be loading up on quite a bit, another stack that I do like today. But that's it for my 5 plays for DraftKings and for Yahoo. Now let's quickly talk about some stacks before we end the video. So I got 3 stacks that I really like today: the Red Sox, the Astros, and the Twins. Those are the 3 teams I expect to be the most heavy on today, the 3 teams I expect to carry the most of my ownership. Going to this Coors game, though, I do like some Rockies bats versus Derek Holland, specifically the righties, Story, Arenado, Mark Reynolds, Ian Desmond. I think those are guys you can look to, assuming this game plays. There is expected to be some pretty bad weather here. But if this Coors game plays, you could consider some Rockies bats. If you're not playing John Gray, you can definitely look to some Giants bats with how cheap they are. And since they're in Coors Field, none of these guys are over 4,400. Belt's the most expensive at 4,400, so you could actually stack the Giants today. I think it makes sense because they're so cheap. I do think this is a day where you can kind of go both sides. You could stack Giants bats. You could also play John Gray. I think both make some sense. But these late night games don't really have any interest, like in the 10 o'clock games. Don't think I'm going to be stacking any Athletics or Reds, and don't see myself stacking any Dodgers or Braves bats. Maybe some Dodgers versus Fulte, 4.6 implied run total. A lot of cheap Dodgers bats like Corey Seager, 3,800, stands out quite a bit. Justin Turner, 3,800. Just don't think they're going to be a core stack for me, though. The 3 teams I mentioned, those are the 3 teams I like the most. So I think that's it for stacks today. Let's quickly go over some BVP before we end the video. So Trey Mancini, 7 for 19 off Chris Sale. Anthony Rizzo, 5 for 11, a home run off Jose Urena. Trevor Story, 6 for 13 off Derek Holland. Chris Iannetta, he's gone 10 for 31 with the home run off Derek Holland. Ian Desmond, 4 for 11, 2 home runs off of Holland, and Nolan Arenado, 4 for 10, 2 home runs. So a lot of these Rockies bats have hit Derek Holland well. And then lastly, Brandon Belt gone 4 for 14 with the home run off of John Gray. So that's it for BVP for today, guys, and I think that is it for the video. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already, and if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one. Good luck tonight. Peace.